Hi guys, welcome back to Around the Campfire with AmeriCamp. Today we have got another interview with one of our amazing influencers. So we have Lorraine here. She's going to be chatting to us about her experience at camp and obviously giving you guys some insights into what a summer at camp does look like. So do you just want to start by introducing yourself and letting us know which camp you went to?
Hi, my name's Lorraine and I went to Camp Lindenmere last summer in Pennsylvania.
Amazing. And are you heading back there this summer?
I am.
Amazing. That's so cool. You must be so excited. Are you looking forward to it?
Very excited. I've been doing the countdown. About 94 days left.
Yeah, you've got the countdown app on your phone that just tells you how much longer it is till summer. Love it. And what role is it that you did at camp? Are you going back into the same role or are you doing something a bit different this year?
So I'm a tennis instructor and bunk counsellor and I'm going to be going back to do the same role this year.
That's super exciting. Lovely stuff. So obviously I can already tell because you are going back that you had a great summer. But do you just want to tell us a little bit about sort of how last summer was, sort of some of your highlights maybe?
Last summer was honestly the best summer of my life. I'd been to another camp before that, which was really good but wasn't the right fit for me, but knew I wanted to go back to camp. So I went back to this camp and it was a lot bigger than my first one. So it was an adjustment to having more kids in the bunk and everything like that. But it just meant all the events were so much bigger. The spirit was so much higher. And I made some of my best friends ever. And I just had a really good time.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, it's so nice to sort of hear from someone as well that's been to a camp and maybe decided that that's not quite the right camp for them, but, sort of going on and exploring other options. I think a lot of people do forget that if you go to a camp and it's not for you, but you still have got that bug for working at camp and it is something that you still want to do, you can come back and you can return to a different camp and sort of we work with you to find you a camp that is going to be a great fit for you. So it's really lovely to hear that you have sort of found that camp in Lindenmere and you are going back and you sort of found that perfect right fit for you, which is amazing. Sort of winding the clocks back a little bit to sort of before you went off to camp, did you have sort of any specific expectations? Was there anything about camp that really surprised you at all?
I had some worries about going into camp. One of my worries was that I wasn't going to be able to sleep because I'm the kind of person who needs silence to sleep. I need darkness. And I was thinking I'm going to be in a bunk with a bunch of people. So I thought it'd be quite hard. But then when I got there, I realised since we're the counsellors, we tell the children to sleep. So if it's not quiet, you can tell them to be quiet. I always bring my blindfold in because a lot of camps don't have curtains, so the windows are open. So just bring a blindfold if you need the dark to sleep, and it's honestly fine because the days are busy, so you're tired by the time you go to sleep, and you're out in seconds. I sleep really well at camp.
Yeah, I always say that to people because I think it is something that people often worry about is sleeping with other people. Am I going to be able to get to sleep? Especially if you're I'm like that as well. I'm quite a fussy sleeper. I have to have quiet. I have to have complete darkness. But yeah, definitely 100%. You're so tired by the end of the day that your head hits the pillow and you're just out immediately. It's definitely a really good pro tip as well. Bringing a sleeping mask. I think it's something that a lot of people don't think of, but for me, exactly the same as you, it helps me sleep so much better because the light doesn't get in, you're not being woken up by the sun first thing in the morning. So that's definitely a 10 out of 10 pro top tip. Love it. In terms of sort of that kind of process for you before you went to camp, what was the process like getting hired at Lindenmere? Sort of how was the experience, sort of especially being hired at a different camp? Sort of run us through what that experience was like for you.
I went to one of the camp fairs in London to get hired, and I walked around for a bit. Someone was showing me around, introducing me to some people. I spoke to my first camp and I was okay, this sounds really good. And I was okay, but that's the first one. Let me speak to some other camps. So I went around, I found Camp Lindenmere and they were hiring for tennis. So I spoke to them. And by the end of the interview, not an interview, they were kind of just telling me about their camp. I was telling them about my experience. And by the end of the interview, I had goosebumps. I was oh my gosh. And they offered me a job and I already knew just by talking to them that it was going to be the right fit for me. Because I think when you're speaking to camp directors or people who are hiring you, what you want is to feel you're gonna fit into the family, they're gonna look after you, and they just have good energy. And I feel if they've got that, that's how you know that's where you should go.
Yeah, definitely. I think I always say to people, especially at camp fairs, like it can feel like really overwhelming because you speak to loads of camps that sound amazing and they're amazing camps, and a lot of people will end up with like multiple offers, or they've at least like interviewed with multiple camps or tried to multiple camps. And yeah, I think you're so right that you do just get that like gut feeling when a camp is right for you. And definitely, you know, that idea of like camps having different personalities, like the directors and the people that are hiring for camps, like they're such a good indication of like what the personality of that camp is. They kind of like set the tone for it. So yeah, definitely like really agree that it is just like a massive like gut feeling, like when you know, you just know, and you kind of have to like run with that, even if you can't put your finger on exactly what it is. Just like having that gut feeling of like, yeah, no, like this is my camp, this is the camp for me, is definitely like the best way to go about it. So yeah, I think that's some really, really great advice for especially like the camp fairs, especially the London ones. They always tend to be massive and like kind of overwhelming. So really good to sort of like hear your sort of opinion on that and get a bit of advice on that for people. So obviously, sort of going back then to your actual camp experience, what was your favourite camp tradition at Lindenmere?
Oh, I have two. So the first one would be Friday night campfires. So every Friday evening, the whole camp would gather around at the like amphitheatre, and a different age group. So it could be lower girls, middle boys, they'd have a theme. So it could be friendship, it could be bravery. And they do something different. They might bring an object that shows their bravery, or they might do a poem or something like that. And then we'd all sing our camp alma mater. We do some more songs, and then we do s'mores. And that was one of my favourite nights of camp, because I remember in my first week in orientation, we heard one of the camp songs. And me and my friends we were all new, we were all looking around like, what is this song? What's going on? And then by the end of camp, like just at random times, I'd just be like doing the actions and singing it for no reason. And even after we left. Yeah. And like just silly things like that become so special. So it was really sweet. And my second one was, my camp did the masked counsellor, where if you've seen The Masked Singer, it's kind of like that, but with your counsellors, and the kids would try and guess who it was singing on the stage in the costumes, and I found that really fun.
That's really cool. Like I definitely really feel that like moment when you like first join camp and you've got all of the like songs and the traditions and like the little things that happen, and you're kind of like a little bit stuck, and all of the like new staff are kind of looking around at each other like, what's going on? Like, what is this? And then, yeah, like by the end of camp, you are like completely in it. Like a lot of the camp songs are real like earworms as well. And you like get them stuck in your head really badly, and you'll just be like going about your day, like singing it to yourself. But obviously, yeah, like things like sort of like campfires, they're always really nice because you get like the whole camp together. And I think those moments are like really, really special. And also, I've never heard of a camp doing their own version of The Masked Singer. That is really cool, because like me and my family are obsessed. Like my mum watches The Masked Singer religiously. Like it's her favorite thing in the world. So really, really cool that they've sort of like adapted that and brought that to the camp. That sounds like so much fun. And I'm really, really jealous because I want in on that. Obviously, moving on to sort of the post-camp travel. Obviously, with sort of both of the camps that you went to, did you go traveling after either of them? Whereabouts did you go? What were some of your travel highlights?
So after my first year at my first camp, we were in Massachusetts, so obviously had to go to Boston. So I did a couple of days in Boston with my co-counselor, and then I have some family in America, so I went to visit my auntie and my cousins in Maryland for about a week, and then I have my mum's best friends in New York, and a bunch of my camp friends lived in New York. So I stayed with her, went into the city, met up with friends and everything. So it was really good fun. And my second year, we took it up a whole nother notch, and we did California, which was my dream place. So me and some of my friends from camp, we made a list of places we wanted to go, and like a list of people we wanted to see, and then we found out what we had in common, and then we booked California like the last few weeks of camp. It was quite close to the end. And we started at San Francisco, went down to LA, and then did San Diego. Flew back over to Maryland to visit my auntie again, and I did another day in New Jersey, which is quite close to my camp because we got dropped off at Newark. And I also went to New York for my last day in America. So that was really fun. Reunited with my co-counselor as well.
Yeah, like really, really jam-packed, like both of those summers. I guess it's really nice as well when you've got like family to go and visit, because it can, especially for your first summer, if it's your first time traveling, it gives you like that structure of like, okay, well, I know I've got like people in these places and I can kind of plan around that. But then also, I guess in your second year, you did have that little bit of like sort of going with the flow a little bit more kind of last minute vibes. It's always nice to go for those last minute vibes. And I really like that idea that you guys like wrote down lists of what you wanted to do and kind of like almost like shared and like crossed over sort of what your different sort of top, you know, bucket list places were. Like I love California. I think it's like the coolest place, and it's also like really nice and hot and sunny, so like win-win really. But yeah, really nice that you guys sort of shared it and sort of came to almost like not a compromise, because obviously like whatever you ended up doing would be really cool, but I think it's like really nice to sort of like have that sharing of ideas and coming to sort of a conclusion between you. That's definitely what I did when I went to camp. We all kind of sat down and we kind of chatted about where we might want to go, and we sort of picked the place that had the most sort of like votes, if that makes sense. So yeah, sounds really, really cool. Have you got travel plans for after camp this summer as well?
This summer I haven't, because when I get back to the UK, I'm going on my year abroad, so I need to be back nice and early.
Oh, that's really cool. Whereabouts are you going for your year abroad?
So I'm going to Germany for half a year and then Colombia for the other half of the year.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. So cool. Well, I'm sure we'll get lots of cool content from all of your other travels that aren't AmeriCamp related, but we'll really look forward to seeing those anyways. So yeah, obviously loads of really fun travel plans for you, which is amazing. So just sort of to kind of tie everything together, do you have any like top tips or pieces of advice for people who are either going to camp for the summer or who might be thinking about doing the program in the future?
I would say take the leap. I think the hardest part for me in all of it was calling the GP to get my medical check. I hate calling the GP, but it's honestly, like, even if you don't know anyone doing it, it's so worth it. The friendships you make out of it, the confidence you get out of it. Because before this, I don't like doing things alone, so it was very weird for me to go and do this. But once you get to camp, you're never alone, you're always with people, and that's the part I really like about it. Like, the community feel is like, it's amazing. Like, when else are you gonna, like, if you want to make plans with your friends on a night off, meet me outside my bunk in 2 minutes, or like, and also the kids are so cute. Like, when I came back from one of my days off, and they wrote me little letters like, I hope you had a good day, like, you're the best counsellor. Or when they're leaving, it's like, you don't really know how close you're going to get with these kids, because I had the little ones, so like I'm basically their mother for like these couple of weeks, and it's just really special. And I think if you have the chance to do it, you should definitely do it.
Yeah, 100%. I think especially that point that you made about like never being alone at camp. Obviously, like this is the sort of thing that a lot of people do solo, and it's their first sort of experience like solo traveling. So it is really easy to think you're gonna like get to camp and sort of be by yourself a lot of the time, but because everyone's in the same boat, you do make those connections so quickly, and you make friends like so quickly. It's such like a special place to like make those connections, and they're always really strong as well because of just like the way that camp life is. You just get so close with people so quickly, which is just like amazing. And obviously as well, really nice to hear that you like really clicked with the kids as well. Obviously, you know, camp is about like making friends and sort of getting stuck into it and having these new experiences, but you know, it is also about working with the kids, so it's really nice to hear that you had that like really special connection. And obviously it's really nice when you get the youngest ones, because they are just like really cute and adorable, and they just say and do the cutest things. You're just like, oh my god, stop, I'll cry. They make you want to melt. So yeah, like lovely to hear that you sort of had those connections with the other staff, but also got to make those connections with the kids as well. That's like so amazing to hear. So yeah, that's like some really amazing advice. Like definitely just do it, has kind of been the general consensus across all of the influencers. It's like just do it. You'll love it. Just do it. But was there anything else you wanted to add? Obviously, as well, you can take a little bit of time to promo your social media as well if you'd like to.
If you guys want to follow me on TikTok, I'm going to be vlogging in the lead up to camp, doing some pack with me's. My TikTok is Lorraine.nw. So I'll be giving you advice on the lead up to camp. I'll try and do some vlogs when I get there, but you know how it is with phone rules, so we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Those pack with me's, those are going to be super helpful, because I remember my first summer I went to camp, I was like, I don't know what I'm meant to take with me. Like, I don't even know where to start. So, like, seeing what other people are packing is a really nice way to, like, get a head start on it. And I guess as well, if you're, like, vlogging packing, it makes you, like, want to do it more, because you're like, okay, well, I'm going to record myself, so I have to do my packing right now. It's like a win-win for you and for the people watching, which is always nice. And obviously, we're really excited to see all of your content sort of leading up to camp. Obviously, we're getting to the really exciting bit now, sort of the final countdown. And obviously really excited to see any content that you're posting while you're out there as well. So yeah, I hope you have the best summer ever. And thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back again with some other interviews with our influencers very soon. But for now, thank you, Lorraine, for chatting with us. It's been really lovely hearing about your camp experience. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Bye.